Lakshmi Ananthamurthy has joined Usha.
Yeah, I unmuted too.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We have heard a lot of nice things about you from Mr. Nandakumar also of ICCW.
And
Thank you.
all of you in the water domain will be really excited to listen to her because she speaks your language, not mine. So I've asked her to share her CV. Lakshmi, if you would just like to say that little bit that we...
Why don't you tell us your story, shall we say, for the rest of us to hear while we wait for more people to join.
Sure. I'm basically born and raised in Bombay. I'm a civil engineer by educational background. And after that, I did my MBA from Chicago Booth. And I was working in British Petroleum in the UK, where I was mentioning to Usha, I did a very interesting project with late Shri C.K. Prahalad, where we set up a new business for BP in South Africa to, how do we work with the people in the lower end of the economy and work with them while they go up the life cycle in the economic lifestyle and have the right kind of offerings for them while doing it all very sustainably. And that's where I got interested in the whole sustainability angle. And then when I decided to come back home in 2007, I was working with a company called as Carbon Credit Capital. I was the director for that in India, primarily looking at that time carbon credits, Kyoto Protocol, all of that, and helping heavy manufacturing companies to see how they can utilize the carbon credits to do a lot to improve their technologies and infrastructure. I then worked with PricewaterhouseCoopers in the sustainability field. And in that, I was doing, water footprinting, carbon footprinting, cradle to grave analysis, life cycle analysis, and all of that fun, interesting stuff. And post that, I joined Shell in 2017. And now I work as a strategy and planning manager for our sectors and decarb space, the IT team that supports the sectors and decarb and lubricant space. I'm the strategy manager for that team.
Lovely. That's what, a span of maybe 15 years and 5, 6 or 4 organizations.
Yes.
Right. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Wow, so impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Mary is speaking from Chicago, by the way, Lakshmi. Yeah.
Hi, Mary.
Yeah. I see you're now in Chennai, or
Yes.
are you now in Bangalore?
Now in
Okay.
Bangalore.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm right in Libertyville, just out of town, but we have beautiful white snow here. Very low temperatures, -15 Celsius.
Yeah,
But great to hear about your background. What an amazing pedigree.
Right.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be a part of this group. It's something very close to my heart. Very passionate about this space. So looking forward to seeing how I can, be a part of this and help collaborate.
Right. When you look at a small city like Trichy, which is 1 million plus people today, that India has about 60 cities of this kind of 1 million population. I call them 1 million cities. We have 2 people here. One is an architect, one is a practicing doctor, physician, orthopedic person, etc. Now, they've been working on a few things like lakes and such. If you step back and look at what you have done, and you suddenly were tossed Trichy into your hands, what would you want to do to bring such a change? To us, and before you respond, to us, it is like this. Consistently, if we can get 2 things happen, a few demonstrated things, educational institutions, colleges and such, by our hospitals or hotels and such things, while at the same time, more importantly, critically, because the first aspect of doing it in places is more like a business and consulting and all that, and that's boring stuff. That's not what we are here to do as a mission. The second one is to see how we reach out with these 4 solutions, simple solutions of water efficiency, which you know about, whether it is recycling or whether it's rainwater harvest and all that. Keeping this in mind, how do you think we should enable the leaders in Trichy to see that they take it up? There's another lady called Mary Muller. Mary, can we ask you to speak, please? Can you say a few things before we ask the other leaders to speak? Yes, Mary, please.
Sir,
good evening.
Good evening, sir. I am Mary Swandra Muller, working as assistant professor in Holy Cross College, Trichy.
Very nice.
I'm thankful to Dr. Narasimha Rao because he brought me to this platform. And our principal, she's very much interested in all these converting waste resources. It's all the resources, waste resources into something useful to the students. So that's why we consulted Dr. Narasimha Rao, and we are in constant touch with him, and he's about to bring some renewable resources to our college.
Nice.
Yes,
Very nice. How many students does your college have?
sir, we have almost around 5,000 students in our college, sir, and around 32 disciplines we have.
And how much as land area will this whole college be? Would you
Sir,
roughly know?
actually, we have 5 institutions running there in the Holy Cross College, and I'm not sure with the entire area.
Right. You know, I normally say this, Mary, and this is for everybody here. If we have 1,000 students, 1 acre, in 1 year, we can save 1 crore liters.
Yes, sir.
1,000 students, 1 acre. In 1 year, we can save 1 crore liters or 10 million liters. Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So to you, Mary Sudhindra Malar, I must say that if you are able to, listen to Dr. Rao's advice,
Yes, sir.
and take it forward, clearly in a situation where you have 5,000 students, I can not assure you, but I'll guarantee you that you can save 5 crore liters. That is the contribution you can make to Trichy as a town, and Holy Cross will be known for it as a pioneer. Dr.
Sure,
Rao?
sir, I'll put this word to our sister principal, and we'll discuss with Dr. Narasimha Rao and we'll carry forward.
Dr. Narasimha Rao, can you respond please to what Mary is saying?
Yeah, welcome, Dr. Malar. And yes,
Good
thanks
evening,
for
sir.
joining in.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening.
And Dr. Hari, just to add to what Dr. Mary just said, the Holy Cross is one of the pioneer institutions who are willing to adapt to change, and anything environment friendly, they're very happy to undertake. And it would interest you to know that following our mission Uyagundan and involving their students in restoration of the channel, the principal, Sister Bridget, actually added the Department of Environmental Sciences from this last academic year.
Wonderful. So you have made a massive contribution, Dr. Rao, isn't it?
It is a team CFU, sir. It is not an individual, it's a team CFU.
Thank you.
So now you understand why I was so keen that the CFU should be mentioned in the poster.
Right, absolutely. No, it's always communities. Without people, we are nothing, Mary Malar, Dr. Malar, I will tell you this much. If it is, what is more interesting, since you are all senior faculty, you are discerning, intellectual level people in Trichy. If you have 5 crore, it means 50 million liters. Now, for every 50 million is, I will put it like this to you, if I take, say, that 50 million liters, in terms of energy, the saving is another thing that we have to think about. That is 50 million means we have actually got 50,000 kiloliters. That is if I remove the last 3 zeros. Into 5, that's about 250,000 units of energy you will save in your college, 250,000 units of energy. Power, the electrical power that is. You will save simply by saving this 5 crore liters, if that's possible to do. That is how it becomes economically viable. See, people keep saying, why should I do this? Oh no, we don't have the money to invest for these things. They don't understand that they get their money back so quickly if they were to invest in it. Dr. Malar. You want to say anything to this, Mary Malar? No, she's there. She's muted. Lakshmi, can I now step in? Lakshmi Anantmurthy, can I now ask you, since I wanted you to listen to these people before I come to you. What do you think that a small town like this offers as a contour? Compared to a Bangalore, which is at at some 70,000 crore liters, they are at some 3,600 crore liters in a year. 316 to 100, 36,000 crore liters. Sorry, or some such figure. So my point is that they are 1/10 Bangalore size. So therefore, it will be 7,000 crore liters in a whole year. I'm saying. Okay, another way of saying it, their population is 1 million, which means what? 0.1 crore. Take only 150 liters per person. That means it's coming to something like 15 crore liters, 150 million liters. If that 150 million liters is multiplied by 360, you will get something like, well, about 700 crore liters. Lakshmi, to you, I'm saying. If this is the 1/10 of Bangalore's challenge is what they have to address, what do you think they should be doing at the levels of community appeal? Any
There
thoughts?
are I just some very basic, starting without actually even having done any groundwork. I would say there are some very basic, simple things. We don't understand, we don't realize the amount of water we are losing with leaking taps, as an example. Just the water dripping, if those taps are fixed, there are a couple of thousands to hundreds thousands of liters that we can avoid losing out on. There are other things like, of course, rainwater harvesting, which I think is a very important piece, and anybody and everybody in their small spaces can also do it. So if there are methods to do that, how do we consciously not waste water? It's simple things like, when we are brushing teeth, turn off the tap. There are some, I think, very basic behavioral things which we can think about implementing when you're talking about a community level. Then when you start talking about consumption and what are the kind of products that people use, I mean, if you, for example, are using products which have a very high water consumption, then being conscious of that and trying to see whether that can be replaced by other products which are not very high water consuming. Just very few small thoughts right away up front.
Let me put it like this to you. I may be wrong, but I'm saying this not to see if I can provoke discussion from others here. The fallacy, the big deception that we all live with is that consumers must drop, like our grandmothers told us, use less of water, use less of energy, and so on. I have believed that you can do that, and the entire community, let's say 1 million people, let's assume, do such a thing. And one fell stroke, a few large institutions abuse by spending a great deal more of water. We have lost it. For example, Trichy has a plan that they are now, right now in this year, 2021, they have 6-7 months ago, they've introduced, where they're spending 28 crore rupees for getting another 6 crore liters for Trichy. Or is it 3 crore liters? 3 to 6 crore liters they are hoping to get out of this new plan that they are launching in Trichy. The whole problem with these things is, if I am in the government, I only think about how I can, bring in more supplies, right? If I'm a consumer, if I'm told to reduce or to bring behavior change, I do not want to do it, because that's not what lifestyle and success is sort of dictated to all of us here as consumers go. And therefore, how do we find a solution that is acceptable to all is what lies before all of us. If you ask me, that is how we keep saying, for example, this whole business of making your own water, growing your own water. How, for instance, if you're an apartment, 50% of it, architect Vijay Kumar is here. He's been in Trichy for a long time. He's one of the leading architects there. Now, if he is to plan a building, if he were to tell his clients that they have to install some very basic fundamental things like a treatment system for sewage, a tertiary treatment system, and then a few more installations that they have to put into place for a new building, he will save easily 50 to 60% of freshwater demand for that building. Architect Vijay Kumar, can I request you to speak on that?
Yeah, good evening. And I was just having a slightly different view on that. See, what I personally feel is that the larger institutions and the government institutions must be the ones which would be targeted.
Correct.
On water reuse, probably, because more than rainwater harvesting, I would say that reuse of water is more important.
Absolutely.
Because the government somehow it promises and it supplies about 150 to 100 liters of water per person. So probably when it comes to larger institutions where there are more number of people, then this reuse of water is one way of tackling the problem. So I feel that once the larger institutions does that, then the government is in a better position to supply water to the lesser privileged people in the society. So I think it is the duty of the larger institutions which has to be targeted first, because at the ground level there are I would say that mindsets and assumptions that it is going to take some effort, some money, and some place. So at the smaller residential level, there is still some sort of a resistance, because we have Kaveri flowing, and we have till now we are not in such a bad state. So I think it is the institutions where we should target to achieve the objective of WOW.
Right. Lakshmi, any take on that? Since you have worked with institutions also, I'm sure you worked on public policy and water.
I haven't worked on public policy and water, but I sort of do agree with him. And there are other things also, small things which we are not aware of. Like, for example, in households, almost all of us now have an RO system. But for every liter of water that you can consume,
absolutely,
you're losing 5 liters of water.
Anyway, right.
That's the earlier apartment complex I used to live in Chennai, they did a very simple thing. They put in an outlet for the RO water outlet, and they took all of that and they sort of recycled it. And that in itself is such a huge saving.
Sure, it is. Sure, it is recycled, but they have used it for non-potable purposes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's okay. To go back to what our architect Vijay was saying, yes, we must focus on bulk water. But you know what it tells me, even as you're speaking, I was thinking, and I will come back to you, Lakshmi, offline after this meeting today and see how I can, you talked about fun and interesting stuff. So I'll try and see if I can offer you some fun and interesting stuff to be done, which is to do with how we make up simple pie chart of what is residential consumption in Trichy, what is industrial, what is peri-urban agricultural, because in a small town that is bound to be there, and that will be claiming some of the water from the grid, I would like to think, or it must be claiming from groundwater, and therefore pumps will be, and pumps and energy will be a challenge. Then there will be other segments like, colleges, higher education institutions, probably hotels and so on. So if we did that, and government organizations, then we can possibly go back to architect Vijay and say, well, of this total of 150 million or 15 crore liters a day, this government institutions that you talked about is only 2% or 3%. And that we should focus upon and some other segment which is taking, let us say, 30%. That is why we talk individual bulk water users, like an apartment or industry or a government building or whatever. We need to understand what it is as a larger segment of that pie chart that we need to be attacking or addressing. Am I making sense? One of you can respond, either architect Vijay or Lakshmi ji.
Yeah, I think what you said makes sense, because then we should have a larger picture of what is the larger constituent of the society.
Right.
Whether it is individual houses, or whether it is apartments, or whether it is the industry, or whether it is institutions. Yeah, I think that makes.
Which is, we make a Trichy city water user profile. Some such thing. If there are a couple of leaders from here, from some of these institutions, I mean, like we heard just now from our Dr. Rao, Holy Cross has a environment science program that they have launched. So we can invite maybe the faculty there to see if they will want to join one of our researchers from WOW or from Global Water Works or whatever. And we see that we understand, like you said now, this city water user profile of Trichy. Welcome to Victor Golahan. Can you say hello to all of us? Good evening to you, Victor. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good
hello.
evening.
How's everyone?
Thank you. Yeah.
I was
you're
just
fine.
I was just thinking on as you were talking that a lot of people do nothing. Most people do nothing. If everyone could do something, and this goes to a lot of different things over the years in the world, trying to do something about a problem. A lot
Right.
of times there's nothing that is done at all. So we need to do something. That's my only comment.
A quick take on what you represent and where you're calling from, Victor. Good morning to you.
I'm sorry, what did you say again?
A very quick take on where you're calling from and your context of professional work.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm from Tulsa. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
And we have a bottled water which has nano oxygen, nano hydrogen, other gases, and has some specific applications to high altitude sickness and other health issues.
Mary, you want to add something to what Victor said? Because, being himself, he will be modest. He will not tell us more about
He is modest. So for all those people who are going up to Kathmandu or the trails in northern India, his inspiredwaters.com has these nano bubbles he mentioned that takes it actually cleanses your bloodstream and infuses it with extra oxygen. So it's a beautiful solution. Victor's looking for investors right now to build that out completely, but it's a fascinating innovation that was an inspired idea given to him when he was struggling with high altitude sickness.
Right.
Many more applications.
Okay. In this context, Victor, of a town, well, by Indian standards, it's small as population at 1 million or so, but by most standards of Europe or the US, 1 million is large, right? We actually here it's about 1.2 million. How would you address, as I'm asking you this question, not as a, as a person who is working on a particular set of products or product, I'm asking you as a strategist who has worked on water for as many years, what would you think Trichy should do? Where can we help its committed citizen leaders?
I think awareness is really the key issue. We are all aware.
Right.
So everyone here on this meeting is aware that there's an issue with water that needs to be addressed. It's critical, and yet your populations are much more aware of it than, let's say, like you said, the United States, because it's about 1 million people in Metro Tulsa, and the idea of what percentage of people actually are aware that there is a global water issue is, I would say, less than 5%. No one really knows. No one's aware. If you're not aware, you don't take action.
Right.
And so to me, that's the big thing. We need to do something, but people have to be aware before they will do anything.
I was listening to Dr. Rao, this gentleman from Trichy, this town that we are today talking about. And he was saying that awareness levels are next to zero. Dr. Rao, can you speak up, please? How, it's important, it's very, very difficult. I can't use the word impossible to make people understand that water is a crisis.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The thing is, unlike Bangalore, Trichy is yet to face a crisis situation wherein we need to pay for the volume of water that's consumed by an individual apartment or a house or an institution. It's almost like a fixed water tax to be paid, immaterial of the volume consumed. Yes, there are pockets of areas in Trichy where they do buy water through tankers, but it is not a very expensive affair. So it is not like people in Trichy are facing an acute water crisis, but the thing is, there is awareness which is gradually improving thanks to our efforts to restore a water channel in Trichy. And the problem that we face is, as architect Vijay Kumar sir was saying, the main problem is we need to understand how to handle our wastewater, the sewage, which is actually the main culprit in contaminating the largest freshwater body of Trichy. there are individuals and also bulk users who let out sewage into this channel. So our main efforts are to not to just cut it off, but to know how to handle the sewage on both the small scale and the large scale. So for individuals who are interested, we need to offer them solutions on a smaller scale, and for institutions who are willing to do their bit on a large scale, like the Holy Cross, which is here, college, they are willing to pitch in on a large scale. So
Right.
for their institution, so that is where we are seeking solutions from the experts who are here as to how we could handle the sewage that we are facing.
See, if this sewage that you're talking of that is going into the lake has one nodal point where most of the sewage is going into the lake, then we can devise a reasonably simple solution with probably some corporate sponsor or some such thing, and the blessings or the no NOCs, as we say, no objection, whatever, from the City Municipal Corporation, to set up a tertiary treatment plant before the lake, treat the water and then put it into the lake. We did this for one of the lakes here in Bangalore, where the capacity that was needed was 4 million liters per day. Right? That is an installation put in before the lake, preceding the lake, at that nodal point where the sewage was coming in. Any thoughts on that, Dr. Narasimha?
Yeah, I think at Vijay Kumar sir's students have done a project on this. They have done a detailed study on the number of inlets that are coming into the channel. They have identified the quantum of sewage coming at each point. And we are facing some bureaucratic hurdles in trying to, set up smaller plants which can treat the water and let it in. Yes, this idea is on our minds, but the workability of it, the operations and maintenance, and then getting the approval, as you said, from the officials, these are all an uphill task because people don't see what we're talking about. We are really faced with a crisis.
Right.
So, Vijay Kumar sir, would you like to say something?
Right. Vijay, would you want to speak up on this?
Yeah. The problem actually is that the sewage enters the canal at multiple areas, and so the thing is that when we talk to them, they say that once it is installed, the maintenance and running of it at multiple areas is a problem. So that's one of the reasons why, because it's this general discussion when it comes to whether it should be a centralized treatment or a decentralized treatment. So
right.
So from the organization level or from the corporation level, they look at it. If it is decentralized, then if it is centralized, the place where they have to maintain and where they have to put men to look after it is one point. So this is one area where it is the point of difference between where whenever we talk about decentralization and the officials, they prefer centralized waste treatment.
Obviously, and for what reasons too. I'm happy that this discussion is, gaining some strength. I'll put it like this to you, Architect Vijay. As our Dr. Rao was saying, if there is a study that some of your interns have done, and if you can share that with us, what we will do is we will put some people to understand the contour, the numbers of entry points of sewage into the lake, make an assessment of the quantum of water that we are talking about, make also a capital cost estimate of what it could cost to have a tertiary system, and maybe offer 2 or 3 technology options. However, the big challenge is always the government. All we want, like I said earlier, is if CFU as well as the Bridge Foundation and all of you there as well as citizen leaders there, you decide to secure only an NOC. That is, the government has to say, yes, you can do, you bring a corporate sponsor, you invest. That is all they need to say. Then we can, think about how some industries or a company or some such thing abutting the lake, which wants water. I have a very lovely structure we made for BEL, a company here in public sector undertaking in Bangalore. They had a very large lake abutting their campus. They wanted about 750,000 liters a day. And the total quantum of water that was going into it was about 4 million liters of sewage water from the city that was going into it, from that part of the city in North Bangalore. What we did is structured it in a way that they would get their 750,000 liters from the lake, post the treatment on the tertiary. I'm giving you that as an example in order to say that we can structure a formula, a memorandum that you can take up as leaders in Trichy. Does that make sense to either of you, Dr. Rao or Architect Vijay?
Yeah, Vijay Kumar sir, would you like to respond?
It is going to be tough. Why you're thinking? It's not easy.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. See here, I would like to say that the railways, they are doing a tremendous job as far as recycling of water and all those things are concerned, because as like in any other cities, they are the largest owners of land in the city. And here, the issue is that we are what we are trying to say is that you must have decentralized plants which will treat the wastewater generated by the residences and let it into the canal, so that this water can go to the periphery of the city, where it helps irrigation of agricultural lands. So our intention is that the water used by the people should be treated, and it need not be potable quality as such, but then it should be good enough for agriculture purpose. So that is what we have been trying to say. But whatever we have been trying to tell till now is just conceptual. We don't have numbers, we don't have figures, we don't have cost, we don't have. So that's our area where we are not able to convince, because we do not have data.
Wonderful. We will certainly, I'm committing now in this open forum that we will help you to structure the data, securing the data. See, in all these cases, as both of you know, as leaders and as people who are shaping policy, and so, at least directions, see, the data that we need to get has to be strategic, therefore directional. We don't need to get that 0.173, kind of accuracy decimal wise, right? So to get this overall kind of drift of the data and the landscape that you have on the aspects of wastewater that you talked about is something that we can help you with. We will ask a little bit of information from you. We can set up a call for this. I'll bring in one or two more people from here and see how we can address that. Good morning to you, Dr. Raj Rajaram. Raj, are you there?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Yeah, nice to see you there. Yes, yeah, good evening to you. Yeah, good morning to you. We have, let me tell the rest of you that Dr. Raj has been a doyen in water management, a whole lot of other things. I'm not going to tell you. You will see a profile of his coming up in the chat box soon. But what is important is that for the last 50 years, from 1969 or 70, he has been in the United States. He comes once a while to India. He grew up in Trichy. And so when we told him about how, we are launching this, thanks to Narasimha Rao's chat with me here in Bangalore some 2 months ago or 3 months ago, he was excited and he said, I will be part of this Trichy mission. So Raj, maybe you have some reminiscences of those times in Trichy. Trichy has evolved from probably 200,000 people that time to about 1 million people now. Your thoughts, please.
Thank you, Dr. Hari. I was in Trichy for a few months. My father was running the Trichy distillery there for about 4 or 5 years. And at that time, his main concern was the discharge from the distillery was a colored liquid and was bothering the farmers. And he was trying to do his best to treat the wastewater before it discharged the distillery. And, there was a lot of protests against the discharge. So there's an evolving process unless people get involved and tell industries that this is not acceptable to discharge any kind of water you want into our water bodies, on which the poor people depend on which agricultural the farmers depend on. So this is the kind of citizen action that Hari is bringing about through this action forums. And we have to be totally aware of what is happening in water in our community, because water is life. And so we have to be constantly aware, and unless we practice what we preach, we cannot tell industry or tell anybody else. So each individual citizen in the Action Forum has to practice conservation, has to maximize recycling, reuse, and be an advocate and a passionate advocate for this in the community. Then the government will notice, people will notice, and it'll become a habit. And once it becomes a habit among people to conserve water, not waste a drop of water, try to find ways to rainwater harvesting or recycling wastewater right in their apartments, then we have achieved our goal of saving water. So this is my message, and anything we can do from here, Mary and I can gather technology and people who are passionate about helping India with the water situation. We will help from here, but you have to take the action on the ground, and we are here to support you in any way you want. Thank you.
Actually, we need technology to change or to lower behavior barriers. Is there any such technologies that we can bring in for lowering behavior barriers and in a way that we can secure greater adapting of solutions?
Yes.
Just before you respond, just now we had Victor calling from Tulsa in Oklahoma, and he was saying, hey, my city is 1 million as population. So Trichy is 1 million. But to my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, Raj, because you straddle both cultures, you have worked there in Nevada, you worked in Mexico, New Mexico, and other places. There, the acceptance of centralized solutions will be far greater. Here, our need for localized solutions is far greater. While the government is pushing for centralized solutions, as architect Vijay was saying earlier, before you came in. So how will you want to look at a Trichy, and what should we do to bring in this decentralized, localized solutions culture?
We have to do our individual actions. That is where decentralization starts, with individuals and then communities, small communities. An apartment building with about 100 residents is a community. Right. So every community can say, what can we do? We have resident welfare associations. Those people have to be extremely active in saying that, what is happening in our community? Are we measuring how much water we use, how much wastewater we are generating? Are we discharging it? What are we doing with it? Unless we are aware, we measure, monitor, and try to minimize our water usage through so many low flow devices and other things that are available very easily. But we have to take the action, and that's where decentralization starts. And when each citizen and each community starts doing it, then the government notices, and the government says, how can I help? Instead of being an impediment, they'll help. And then their centralized solutions, which cost crores of rupees, we will prove that it does not work here. And we have the Right to Information Act. We can ask the government, you are doing this many, many millions of crores of rupees on some project. What is the impact on people? Instead of that, why didn't you give 80% of that money to local communities? We will do it ourselves. So this is the kind of interaction you have to have with the government, but we can't have that interaction unless we start doing it ourselves and showing people that we are an involved community.
Okay, you see, look at what Dr. Raj said, particularly all of you citizen leaders from Trichy. Dr. Mary Muller, I want you to listen to this, if you don't mind, carefully. Yes, what is he saying? He says, look, if you can bring in this change among consumers, to me, you as a consumer of 5 crore liters or a person who can save 5 crore liters in your campus in 1 year, with a few steps that we will discuss, will mean that if Trichy is setting a modest small target of 100 crore liters for this year, 5% of it you are giving. if your college is willing to accept it. So I have one question to you. You heard Dr. Raj Rajaram. Would you want to ask him, how do I make, that is, I am Dr. Mary Muller, how do I make a business case to my college to ensure that they're willing to take this up, accept a certain amount as cost, ensure that that money is recovered in some 1.5 years, 2 years or whatever. And I can tell you it can't be any more than 2.5 years maximum. A lot of the money will be recovered in 6 months, 8 months, some aspects of it, like you mentioned just now about water efficient fixtures and so on. Would you want to therefore ask Dr. Raj any question, Dr. Muller, as to how you make a business case? Yes.
As far as now principal's concern is mainly to meet out the needs of the students who are residing in our own college itself, because we have nearly 1,000 students who are residing in a hostel. So she wants to take some measures so that we can reuse the water for our own students.
Right. You know what you're saying, there's 1 lakh liters, and therefore you're having 365 lakh liters in a year. That's 36 million liters or 365 lakh liters of water that you need for your students. If I take only 1,000 students, that's only 100 liters. They're bathing and, they're canting the cooking water, the gross water demand that you will have for the 1,000 students. While, like you said, your day scholars will add for another 4,000 students. Totally, you said 5,000 students. So I'm saying we can make a business case to your principal. You can make it, or we can help you make it in a way that he understands, yes, the first lot of the 1,000 students, the resident scholars, and their needs of water is met. And then there are other connected things. How do you give them hot water? You know what students do. They use that monstrous thing, that wire that they'll put in a bucket. The impedance, the impedance is so high of that device for hot water that it consumes immense amounts of energy. It's a grossly inefficient system, Dr. Muller. So we can bring in a few things like that. Our Dr. Rao will help you. Would you want to look at such things? I'm picking up from what Dr. Raj said by asking you this question.
Sir, whatever we are discussing here, I'll take all these matters
Very
to
lovely.
our principal, and our principal will decide what to be done. Yes, sir.
Mary, can I make a comment here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mary, unless the students get energized and educated that we have to save water, we have to do everything possible, then they will not do it. For example, I'll tell you a small story of in Northwestern University here in Chicago. Their campus is right on Lake Michigan, the largest freshwater body there. But those students were challenged for 1 semester to develop an app to monitor their daily water usage. And we had a small competition as to whichever student or student group comes up with the least amount of water usage in that semester, they will be given an award. Immediately, the students got so creative. They developed an app. They were monitoring their daily water usage, how much they use for shower, for all other uses they do, and say, we have saved it. So it was a pride for them that they are saving water and they are doing their part for the community. So like that, students should be challenged. And one other small story I'll tell you in Hyderabad. I went to campus at JNTU University there. There we told them this hostel is there. This is creating so much wastewater. There is a piece of land here. So we said at no cost to you, we will install a system that will take that wastewater through simple aeration systems. We will totally treat that water so that it can be used for all non-potable uses on campus. And they did that within 3 to 6 months, and they were saving all that water instead of going to the wastewater treatment plant and don't know what happens after that. They were reusing that water right on campus for all non-potable purposes. And Dr. Ganapathy, Mr. Ganapathy has said here, Special Correspondent, Trichy District, ex-NORA. Ex-NORA is an amazing organization out of Chennai, initially started there all over now. They have come up with these simple ways of recycling water for reuse. So there are people right in your Trichy area. Mr. Ganapathy should be asked to come to your campus, talk to the students, talk to the principal. And then you can start implementing these things. These don't cost much money, and whatever money you invest, you can recover very fast. So this is something you can take immediate action, Mary, and any help you want in doing this further, I'm just an email away. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
தமிழிலும் பேசலாம் என்னோட.
Dr. Hari, you have to unmute.
Sorry, Mohammed, thank you. I was asking Dr. Ganpati, Mr. Ganpati, if he wants to ask Dr. Raj anything. Mr. Ganpati Vishwanathan? No, he's not responding. Okay. Maybe
Welcome,
he's on mute.
Ganapati sir. Ganapati sir, are you there?
Well, I think he's on mute and he's not either listening or something. Okay.
Narasimhara was going to say something.
Are you audible now, sir?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead with your question, sir.
No, you heard Dr. Rajaram talking about how the Exnora example is an inspiring one. And then, when he's talking to somebody like Dr. Mary Muller on what she can do in her college, he says one of the ways of doing it is to make it a student story. Students participate and make, whatever that they need to make as behavior changes. What are your thoughts on that as a long-time practitioner of water management, Mr. Ganpati?
Well, WADA, a German organization, they established this unit as a flagship project in Devadhanam in Trichy with a German technology. It is nothing very special. They don't use electricity. They are not adding any inoculum. The entire operation is done only by the extremely accurate manner in which the DWARS is constructed with an ABR PGF collection store, and that from the collector pond that water is being pumped into the farm. And yesterday I had taken photograph of the banana and the other crops which I have mentioned, which were there yesterday. I have been following it for the last 15 years. After my retirement in 2002, I am fully associated with this program. The entire project is maintained by the self-help group of that particular one. The community toilet is owned by the Trichy Corporation. And the Trichy Corporation is giving major infrastructure facilities. Other doors, water supply, changing the bulb, etc. is done by the self-help group of women who are there for the last 15 years, right from the day when the construction work started.
Thank you.
Ganapati, can you go to campus at Mary's campus and talk to the students and get something like that going on campus there and other institutions in Trichy? That's my request.
Recently, one college, Polytechnic College at Dinankulattur, recently established a similar project, which are being done by the management, but we are associating the students only to a limited extent because it is a college where the students are coming. So it is basically, it is a management oriented for the benefit that they can use the recycled water for the garden. They have got about 10 acres of land.
Right.
They are using the water, recycled water for the plants they have planted in that vacant area.
Absolutely.
So it's being done, but we cannot hand it over to a group of students and leave it afterwards. See, monitoring is very essential. Fortunately, for the last 16 years after retirement, I am in a position to go there and see it almost every alternate week. And now is crop season, and therefore I am going there once in 2 weeks. And this book, a book on this has been published by the BODA of Germany. In addition to that, the BODA has used these photographs in 4 of their calendars. The photographs of East Devadhanam in Trichy in 4 of their calendars, which has gone all over the Southeast Asia, where the BODA is a German organization. Now they have stopped working in India because they find that Africa is a more, their need is much more than that. So that
we don't need them anymore, Ganapati. We can do it ourselves. Please do it ourselves, okay?
We have got people to construct it, but what required is, as you suggested, the students can do it, but they will be going after 6 months. but there should be somebody. The management, as well as this
Sure.
Yeah.
college said, they will take it up. Yes, sir.
Sure. I will pause if you don't mind for a minute. You know, we have several people who have come in, including Dr. Prakash Tata. Good morning, Dr. Tata from Chicago. We have, and it's important for me to also mention that his heart has always lain in India, though he went some 50, 55 years ago to the US. Dr. Prakash Tata, namaste to you. Are you there? Yes.
Good
you're
morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Sorry, I'm joining late. I just sent a paper to Hari, to you, and to Raj and Mary. I just emailed a paper.
Wonderful.
It's an interesting discussion. In America, sitting in my own home, I tested myself with what are the minimal requirements of water. United Nations something said it about 50 liters per day. I said, Prakash Tata, why don't you test yourself if for some reason your water line broke and you're not getting any water, and how much of a minimum water that you need to just to get your activities together.
Listen to a few more people from Trichy.
May I just supplement?
Yes, yes, sir.
We had one biogas plant from which the biogas was used for cooking purposes, not cooking purposes, but for heating the water by the people community during winter season. Unfortunately, after 6 years, which was commissioned in 2005 by the then Commission for Municipal Administration, after 6 years, because it was constructed on the old method of bricks, there was a problem. The gas is leaking out. So now we have disconnected the gas part of it from the DVS. But on the other hand, we are having a similar unit at Musili,
right,
where the caretaker is able to get enough gas. It is now she is using that gas also even now. It was started 6 months after this was done. So gas also is looked into.
Sure.
But the quantity is dependent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that we have enough people, the quorum present, etc., can I formally request Dr. Narasimha Rao to see that he, seeks to address the people who are present here. We have over 40 people, I think. And please go ahead, Dr. Rao.
So thank you, Dr. Hari, and kindly excuse me. I'll switch off my video because of some bandwidth issues.
No, it's okay. We can hear you and it seems fine. You can speak.
So, so today is 7th of January, and I don't know whether it's by design or destiny that this was the same day 4 years ago that we launched Mission Uyagondan.
My God. Amazing.
So, and here we are launching Mission Wow in Trichy exactly 4 years down the line. So why did we do it? So this was about restoring a 1,000-year-old channel which was man-made by Rajaraja Chola, which carries water from River Kaveri through Trichy for a distance of about 69 kilometers. 9 kilometers runs through Trichy. So when I was a kid, I used to see fresh water perennially around the year. And now in the last 15 to 20 years, it's become mostly sewage or contaminated water. And so though there was not much of a crisis faced by Trichy people, we thought it is a matter of pride that we restore something like this to normalcy. So which is what got us together, a citizen-driven initiative, and we worked on it for about 150 weeks on the trot without a break. And apart from the small changes that we could show on the banks and little bit of cleansing water and generating a lot of awareness regarding Uyagondan and the importance of its restoration, I think we achieved two key aspects on this. One was we nudged the corporation into spending about 17 plus crores to restore the northern bank of the river, of the channel for a distance of 2 kilometers. And the second thing is restoration of Uyagondan became election manifesto promise of all the political candidates in the last assembly elections. So this was the mission which brought us a lot of professionals, students, even laborers on the same platform working for the same cause, because all of us need water to the same extent. So we worked on three aspects: the awareness, bank restoration, and cleansing water, ABC. And in this journey of 3 years of joining hands with various institutions, professionals, individual students, and so on, we got to know the people who have this frame of mind, that we need to do, who feel responsible towards saving water and restoring what is already there. So with this acquaintance of the people who are like-minded, and having met Dr. Hari a couple of months ago, so we have now invited people who can not just be the change, but also stimulate change around them. It can be the institution or the community and so on. So the initiation has already been done, and I've invited those institutional heads who some of them are here, I guess. We'll again interact with them if time permits. So these are people who have already taken the questionnaire given by Dr. Hari, and shortly we'll be looking at the options as Dr. Raj was suggesting, wherein we show the change in individual setups, thereby compelling the government to take action. So, so thank you very much. I'm trying to be very brief here.
Right.
Trying to be very brief here
Sure,
because
sure.
of the time constraint.
Fair enough. Dr. Rao, can you connect, can you request one or two of those people from the college institutions to speak up now?
Yeah.
Since you mentioned them, yes.
I'm just looking up and just 1 second.
Yeah.
May I invite one Dr. Natarajan?
Yes, please. Natarajan, can you speak up?
Dr.
Ganapati,
Yes, Mr. Ganapati.
I am sorry, I am being drawn into more and more of discussion. The Sabesh Janaki, who mentioned here by Sripati,
Right.
the Sabesh is my nephew.
Oh, wonderful.
Janaki is the actress who comes as Amma in many films. Their daughter's marriage is being celebrated on February 9th this year.
Small world.
So after February 15th, somebody could contact, and I will also contact them, get them contacts first. I will also put in a
Wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful. We'll keep that in mind.
Sorry for coming often.
Not at all. No. Nice of you to have mentioned that. Mr. Sripati, you have another lie there. It's a small word. Come on, back to you, Dr. Rao.
So may I invite Dr. Natarajan, who is now heading the R&D and the chemistry department in one of the prominent colleges in Trichy, which is Saranathan Engineering College. He has been associated with trying to help industry in Crore with water treatment, and he is now been employed with Saranathan College. And the other interesting aspect is that he was my chemistry teacher in the 12th standard.
Nice. Very nice.
Sir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So, Narasimha, thank you very much for introducing me. So, in the college, we are trying to, with Dr. Rao's guidance and with his involvement, we are trying to put up a sewage treatment plant so that the water is recycled. It is and it's very interesting that I'm brought into the. I have contacted Dr. Rao and I'm into this endeavor. At the same time, it is as he said, I am submitting a proposal to Department of Science and Technology for recycling effluent treatment water because they are wasting about 35. Not wasting, they couldn't recover 35,000 liters of water per day, which I am trying to recover so that it can come back into the reuse every day. That means 30,000 liters per day. You can imagine.
Yeah,
1
right.
crore.
Yeah, absolutely. In a year, 10 million liters. You're right. Absolutely.
1 million liters. So that will be recycled without any further processing. And they also produce waste product, and we are trying to make use of those waste products. So I wrote in the specifically in the introduction itself, we don't call this water as a waste water. We'll call it as a resource of so many chemicals, because I'm trying to recover chemicals from that and use the sludge for building materials. So that is where I am now.
Right.
So,
right.
And I'll be very much interested, and I will be keen in associating myself with this Vivekananda mission so that I'll be happy to work with you all.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. We have lots of things to do this year. Back to you, Narasimha. We have Gregory Lescher from Australia. The time now must be 11:45 for him. And Gregory is here thanks to Mary's invite. You'll have to see how, we move at some point to see that he offers us some things on the solar stills that he talked about. And Mary mentioned earlier on in our internal conversation. The reason is that Trichy also could have such applications with solar stills. Keep that in mind. You see how you want to guide the meeting from here, Dr. Rao.
Yeah, so before we hand over to the two guests that we invited, may I just make a quick mention of two other persons who are here. One is Mr. Premnathan Kandaswamy, who is an industrialist and also he heads one of the Rotary clubs in Trichy, and he has been associated with this Mission Oyegondan, and he's happy to set up a benchmark in his industry. He is happy to set up water efficient systems in his industry to set up a benchmark, and also willing to sponsor any corporation school that we can suggest in the due course. Prem sir, would you like to come in and say a few words?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. I'm very excited to participate in this meeting, and thank you for inviting me for this meeting. And of course, all of us know water is very important for the present scenario and definitely for the future generation also. And wherever required, I'm willing to contribute myself. And wherever resources are required, we will pitch in and pull in from some of my friends also, and we'll try to do best whatever we could do for the benefit of the society.
Wonderful. We couldn't hear. This is such music to the ears, Mr. Premnathan. Very nice to hear that you will support. This is the only way, only citizen leaders can make these things happen. They've always seen this, that the private sector and the markets inspire such new directions, then the government will do what it has to do. So we have to demonstrate these things. Over to you, Dr. Rao.
Yeah, just one more person I'd like to introduce. May I invite Dr. Ravichandran, who's a professor from the Environmental Sciences Department of Bishop Heber College.
Very nice.
This is one of the best known colleges in Tamil Nadu state. And following our activity on the Mission Oyegondan, he invited our team to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Environmental Science Department. The objective of which being that he would send students from his department to work on projects on the work that we are doing, so that it will be a dissertation work for them and we could get some useful information out of it. And he went on to also introduce the Eco Services Club in his college. And I had the honor of inaugurating this Eco Services Club, which would attract all students of the college, which again has a massive, I would invite Dr. Ravichandran to say a few words. Again, this is a huge college with a lot of students who are very energetic, who can be recruited in, in constructive work that we are planning to. Dr. Ravichandran, a few words from you, please.
Good evening, Dr. Rao, and good evening to all of you. I'm very happy, and I feel proud to be associated with the CFU. Actually, we signed the memorandum of understanding, and due to COVID lockdown and all, we could not, I think, proceed further. And we thought of reviving it again. As Dr. Rao said, we have been doing a lot of research on water, especially in the Oyegondan channel itself. When our department was started in 1984, and I belong to the second batch of the MSc Environmental Science, and we did a lot of research, the initial research on Oyegondan River by our department. And part of my work, my MSc dissertation was on Oyegondan channel. And we have our students, MSc and PhD students, who are doing a lot of research, and we can extend our support in terms of analyzing water samples and also in assisting the designing of anything, water treatment. Somebody said the Oyegondan channel is receiving wastewater. I think Mr. Vijay Kumar said, architect Vijay Kumar said that sewage is coming from all the sources. It is a non-point sources. Many places, sewage is reaching Oyegondan channel, and therefore, we can assist in any scientific and research and analyzing water samples and everything. So we are ready to do that, and we have a lot of student strength we have, so we can extend our support from our side for any activity CFU is doing, and I'm very happy to be part of this. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So do we have another minute? Hello?
Sure.
Go ahead, Narasimha Rao.
Yeah. May I request Justin Mohan? Justin, could you just switch on? Actually, he's attending.
I'm very much there. I'm very much there, Doctor.
Yeah, Justin Mohan is the secretary of the National Biodiversity Authority of our country. He is from Trichy and my classmate in school. And his heart is always in Trichy, and he has been helping us with certain aspects of water management and the biodiversity that we can bring into the water once we get the basics right. So he is another strength of our Citizens for Vivekananda. So Justin, a few words from you, please.
Thank you, Doctor, and thank you to all the experts and participants. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity for speaking at this Elite Forum. Actually, I have been trying to help Dr. Narasimha Rao in his endeavors to promote the Citizens for Vivekananda Canal through some sort of a technical support, because I am in Government of India. I am working from a place away from Trichy, but I hail from Trichy, and today he has also given a chance for me to see our former chemistry teacher, Mr. Natarajan. I am hearing his voice for after I think almost 35 years. So thank you, Doctor. As a government official, I have a different perspective of water management. I have worked as a director of the groundwater department also. Water department, I was a director for in Kerala. So I know how water management takes place in the states. In a developing country like India, awareness generation is fine. It is very much required. Civil society groups, citizen groups have been taking a lot of efforts to promote awareness creation. It's all fine. Incentives is also fine. Recognizing the people who are actually coming forward to conserve our groundwater and surface water, that is also fine. But government intervention is very much required on 2-3 aspects. One is the technology front. We need better technologies. There are people like Premanandan who had just spoke earlier that he was willing to, he or his organization, he's from Rotary, he was committing that they would be willing to support technology which can conserve or protect our water bodies. The government also has to come in and then chip in by not only providing or supporting such technology initiatives, but also some sort of a regulatory regime has to come into force, either in the form of fines or something like that. Otherwise, what happens is one group keeps on talking or working for water conservation, and the other group, one set of people just don't mind about it. Whatever you keep on saying doesn't work that way. So the municipal authorities have to chip in with, they have to be more active and then impose fines wherever required. They should be authorized to levy a fine also. And I think the present laws are there to regulate industries. We have the Water Act and also the Environment Protection Act presently in vogue in India. So industries are by and large regulated. We have the pollution control boards. Agriculture pollution is a cause of concern, and also the domestic pollution is also a major cause of concern. Of course, organizations like CFU, Citizen for Vivekananda, have been playing a major role to promote awareness among the citizens of the city of Trichy. But government intervention is required. A carrot and stick policy is required to ensure that comprehensive protection or conservation of our water bodies can be achieved. That is my take. Maybe in the subsequent
thanks.
Seminars or webinars which you are organizing, I can give some more suggestions.
I was about to tell that.
You have asked me to speak for only 1 minute. I just stopped here now.
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor. Actually, Justin, I was about to say that we'll have to keep a note, Dr. Hari, that we'll have to invite Justin because he's got a lot to offer and offer to our platform in terms of management from both perspectives, both the citizen side and the government side. So thank you, Justin, for coming in. And over to you, Dr. Hari or Mrs. Eggert to take it further, please.
Doctor, you are on mute.
I was saying that is now over to Mary Eggert. She will introduce Gregory Lescher. Go on, Mary.
Yes, well, welcome everyone and congratulations on the Trichy launch. I am thrilled to see so many people here building on the success of the World Water Action Forum, and very thrilled to have with us Gregory Lescher, who has been innovating through inspirations he's received as he opted to go off grid to live with no energy or no access to our normal resources, and was surprised to find that a simple mechanism to support his garden blossomed into a very large solar still capability, which enables anyone with beside the oceans dealing with desal issues, but not having desalination systems or energy available to actually access pure clean water. I'm going to just show you briefly what that looks like here. But he is here from, he's actually in Mountain Time. He's from Utah, and our Australian expert who we were hoping could join us was called out because of a car accident in the area, but what's fortunate is he has provided his background, and I included this link in the community, the Global Waterworks community, and in the chat. The Global Waterworks community is free, open to everyone. We're thrilled to be very close partners with Hari and the team, and have not found anything like the World of Water Action Forum moving water conservation elsewhere in the world. So we are hoping to soon have the journey for the World of Water Action Forum with all of your help in the community. But I'm pointing out the solar, this solar powered atmospheric water generation, which is the HydroCube, which allows for you to actually generate 120 liters any place. Just pop up the device with the solar power. And that is something that you can find out more about by talking to the World Environmental Services group that's also in the community. And what we will do is have Wally, who introduced this with us later, but I'll put a link to his video also in alongside this event in the community. So those of you who want to learn more.
Meetings to go. This is the first of several meetings, as you know, 26 meetings this year. So there will be, let the citizens of Trichy absorb this slowly. Today, I'm sure, put this link on the chat box. You can take it from there. Is that right, Mary?
Yes, that's perfect. And,
right.
And so what we want to do is turn it over to Greg Lescher, who I have the information on his resources up here, and we'll talk about how he came up with the concept for the actual solar still, and share a garden plan that's in the community. And let me see. So, so Greg, if you want to just take it from here, address what you have. If you do want to share any slides, I'm sorry about this. Let me get Greg's website is here, and the book with complete instructions for how to build the solar still is here. And I apologize, my system's having a little bit of a delay. But Greg, I will turn it over to you to explain how you got here and what the potential of this solar still enables, and how people can access the design or your help.
Well, thank you for the nice invite. Yeah, I started out about almost 20 years ago, buying a piece of land to go off grid and to reduce my bills. And I had drilled a well. I drilled my own well, and all I found was salt water. And I went down 200 feet and nothing but salt water, just about as salty as the Great Salt Lake or the Dead Sea. And I went through a process of trying to use RO off grid, and that was just absolutely a white elephant for me, because there was too much salt in my well. Too much, the parts per million were above what RO could handle. So I had to come up with a solution. And out of frustration, I took it to prayer and said, how can I garden with what I have here on my land? And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke to a dream, and in my dream, I had taken some tires and created a solar still that one tire, one semi-truck tire would take care of one plant, like a tomato plant or others. And I actually had quite a garden growing. And then we got a flood and it wiped my garden out. And I was sitting there thinking, now what? I looked down at the tire still, and I realized the design is different than anything I had ever seen. And I have been studying and studying and studying solar stills, and they all come to a dead end because of their design. I don't know how to use this platform, so I'm not going to get too much into the pictures. I'll try and explain it. But I realized that the still that I had made out of the tires from the dream was scalable. There was no limit to its size. So I said, well, I'm going to have to build one. So I went out and I purchased some cinder blocks and some pond liner. And the picture she showed on the cover of that book was actually the picture of the first still. And the next morning, actually the fourth day I went out there to observe it, there was water filling all over the place. So the next day I began to collect it and measure it. And from this solar still, I got almost 30 US gallons in a 24-hour period. I didn't realize it at first, but nobody has been able to do this from a single base still. This was completely and totally passive. No electricity. The only electricity I used was to pump the water out of the well and into the still. And the rest was done by gravity. Well, as I went on with this solar still, I asked the question, what's keeping me from producing more than 30 gallons from this solar still? And the answers came pretty quickly. One is how can I increase the collection surfaces? And how fast can I boil that water? And because of this design, this unique design, I was able to build on top of my still a system of, I guess you would say a condenser, so to say, where the fresh air could blow through these pipes to collect this water. And I realized that it was, there was really no limit to the amount of collection surfaces that I could place.
Greg,
And
can I step in here, to ask you how what you have done on solar stills can become relevant to a subtropical city of 1 million people and 140 square kilometers that Trichy is.
Absolutely.
And how they can use it. If you can give us one example of how they can use it there in a college or in a hotel or a hospital or whatever, that will help the participants here.
Okay. First of all, any water source will do. Even if it's got sewage in it, because distillation, as you know, purifies it. The only thing that you might have problems with if there was fuel or gasoline or alcohol or something that would evaporate.
Right.
So anyway, the second test unit I did, I was able to make a 1 meter square with the collection surface, and using some parabolic troughs and some solar evacuated tubes and some copper tubing, I was able to heat up a fluid to boil the water. And this little 1 meter square with a few solar panels was able to produce 90 US gallons in 6 to 7 hours of daylight.
90 gallons will be roughly about, say, 300 plus liters of water. We talk liters here, you talk gallons. Now, for producing this machine or this contraption with ETCs and the 1 square meter panel and so on, approximately what do you think it will cost for somebody to make this happen here? As you said rightly, this can be assembled by anybody. This isn't technology.
It really can.
Right.
It really can be, because the way this is set up,
right?
Say you have just a basin,
Right.
through water in, and you're heating it from underneath if you wanted to speed it
Right,
up.
right.
All of the distillation, it's all, there's really nothing to it. It's just what the price of the materials is. You can use
Fantastic.
glass, you can use plastic.
Can I
in-house
suggest something
cover.
to you? Can I suggest something to you,
Sure.
Greg? Here, there is a person who heads, he founded and he heads an environment science department in one of the most respected colleges called the Bishop Heber College in Trichy. His name is Ravichandran. He's here in this group today. Can I have you, Ravichandran, can you invite Greg Lescher for a session of maybe 1 hour? Because you can see that he has a profound set of ideas. He can't be speaking of all of these things in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So what we should do is to invite Greg Lescher for a session that you will do in your environment science program with a select number of students who can take his ideas and probably demonstrate with the assembly and installation of one such solar still. Ravichandran.
Yes, we can do that. We can fix a date and we can do that.
Mary, what would you say to that?
Pardon, sir?
No, I was asking Mary Eggert. Yes.
Yeah.
Would you respond to what Dr. Ravichandran is saying, Mary? So that we can get Gregory Lescher to spend 1 hour with a dedicated, focused group of environment science graduates.
I think that would be wonderful. I think any university should have access to both the still, but also the garden, somewhat of a project, a beautiful illustration, which he offers for free. Yeah.
Right. Greg, if we have also your consent, what we will do is we will ask Mary to see that she connects with Dr. Narasimha Rao, who is the mission director for Trichy, and with Dr. Ravichandran, who is heading this environment science program at this college called Bishop Heber College. And then when you do something like that, what happens is that the VOW Trichy mission, this mission to see what they can do to save water or to use water creatively, will gain some sense of, shall we say, meaning and significance with one system that they first put together under your guidance and direction and counsel. And then they see how they can replicate that. What would you think, Gregory Lescher, of that?
Well, most of the material that I studied on solar stills, in fact, 99% of it was from colleges and universities. And they have spent billions of dollars in it. This design, I could confidently tell you, will change the design of all solar stills from this point forward.
Fantastic.
Because, and all of this can be done off grid, no power. You can just use a few solar panels to produce enough electricity to run a few pumps. But this is going to, this can be on a municipal scale.
Yeah.
There's no end to the size.
Right.
And it can be made to look.
And you know what I heard, what I found most interesting in what you said, that we can put wastewater onto that crucible, convert it to distilled water, mineralize it, and drink it. This is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And you can also recover things from the water.
I get that. Raj, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think what Gregory has said is what every person has to think, there's a problem here. What is the best solution? And I keep coming up with improvements till it works. And that is the attitude that is required to solve our water crisis. Because this is a classic example. He goes to a place where there is no access to, water that he can use for his agriculture or for drinking because it is so saline. And he comes up with this wonderful system. And he never gives up till he refines it till it really is effective and is the best system. So that approach is what I think students should learn from and just inculcate in their, studies and in their future life.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Greg, for that approach to problem solving.
It really is the cheapest solution out there, the most affordable for everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Because this RO system has just ruined India, and we don't want RO systems there anymore.
Yeah, and you know, the beauty of it too is you don't have to return the output to the ocean. You can turn it into an industry of, you know, sea salt or what have you.
Right.
Yeah.
And what also shocked me about Greg's system is that most innovators who come up with something that's game changing that hasn't been available are very, they safeguard all of their intellectual property. Now, Greg actually put it together in a book, knowing that he got this gift sort of in a dream and tested it and saw it work. And he said, everyone who wants to build it or to use it can access now in Amazon. And he is the first to sort of publish it. So he also does, you know, own the IP. So if people want access.
Got that. Dr. Rao, our Mr. Sripati of ICCW is saying that we can think of forming water sustainable zones for Trichy around Tokudi, Malaparai, Srirangam and places like that. You have to please take note of that. ICCW will partner with us. I can tell you that. There is absolutely no doubt of that. Now I hand it over to you, Dr. Rao, to see how you got another 4 minutes. And well, if you want to extend, it's your call. It's your city. Over to you.
Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Hari. And yes, point taken regarding extending to other zones in Trichy. And I think what you suggested just now was a great idea, where we get Mr. Gregory to talk to the students of not just Bishop Heber. I would also rope in the faculty
Holy
of
Cross
colleges.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we have two sets of dedicated environmental science departments.
Yes.
With students there.
Yes.
Learning two things at one time.
Yes.
One, as you said, as to, you know, what solutions could it be? And more importantly, as Dr. Raj suggested, the approach to a problem, like how Mr. Gregory, you know, was at it until he found a solution. So I think that is something which you need to inculcate to students, where they have to persevere till a solution is found. So yeah, definitely I'm in, and I'll do all that is possible to make this happen. Yes.
And what we will do is all those people who participated today, we will put them together in some kind of a group that you will create, Dr. Rao. And clearly there are 3-4 takeaways, including the one about, you know, Gregory Lescher coming in and, you know, doing a session for the students and faculty of those colleges. The other, you know, thing that you said in passing and we missed somewhere is, or, you know, when Mr. Mr. Premnathan said that he is a Rotarian, here we have a very senior Rotarian among us. Two of them actually, one is Raj Rajaram from Chicago. Then we have BK Prasad, who has been doing some phenomenal work. I don't want to embarrass him by telling you of the you know, the really massive contribution that he has made to Rotary Club with lots of funds, you know, many crores of rupees that he has sort of instrumentally engineered into making happen. Prasad, do you want to say hello to this industrialist from Trichy called Premnathan? And then see how between the two Rotaries you can work together. BK Prasad.
Very good evening to everybody. Yeah, definitely. See, I would love to get him involved in the Rotary India Water Conservation Trust, which is headquartered in Delhi. I am the working committee members of that. I'm also incidentally the district director for water and sanitation, District 31890, that is Bangalore. So we are doing lots of work, and that's how Dr. Hariharan knows that I would like to take WOW to Rotary now, because I've already taken Indian Plumbing Association to Rotary, and I would like to take WOW to Rotary. So, though that will be a huge, you know, like strength for us to, you know, do our programs, conduct our programs, and go to the, because of Rotary's reach in at the Indian levels, you know, like one of the most popular, you know, philanthropic clubs in India, can do a wonderful job. Yes, Mr. Premnathan.
Yeah, Mr. Prasad, I want to tell you one more thing. I believe Mr. Premnathan has already committed to our Dr. Narasimha Rao, the mission director there, that he will sponsor some activity as well as support the creation of some project.
I heard that.
You heard that. Okay, you heard that.
That's right.
So, yeah, I wasn't sure if you had come in by that time. I'd like to see how you guys can, you know, pitch in
Yeah, yeah,
you know
we
how
can.
it is. I mean, strength, unity is strength. So you can work that together. It'd be nice.
Premnathan, kindly share your number to me.
We'll connect. We will make all that happen slowly.
Sure,
as we go
sure.
along. And
I will reach out. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
wanted to say that the book that I was specific on this still is called The Flat Top Solar Still. And if somebody would, wants to translate it, I would be happy with that. And we could do, special pricing for students so that it could actually be a textbook.
Sure. So
Oh,
when that meeting happens with the two colleges and the students and faculty there, I'm sure Dr. Rao and others will lead that and see how we can make that happen.
I think
Essentially, yes,
yeah,
yes.
I think it can be more than 2 colleges. We can invite all the institutional heads who could, engage their students.
Very well. Sure.
We can do that.
Mr. Premnathan, you wanted to respond to Mr. Prasad, I thought.
Yeah, Mr. Prasad, we will get connected offline and then we will discuss how we take this, our Shekhar Mehta's mission towards water forward.
Absolutely.
As
a very well
I know
spoken as a
Rotary India
Rotarian.
has signed with the government of India to conserve water in a big way.
Right.
And
In
I
fact,
think,
just before coming here, we had IPA had a meeting with the urban secretary, and we want to bring something called Bureau of Water Efficiency, just like that, and we want to bring a mark called a Bharat Tap, so that Bharat Tap, it shows that efficiency in all the products. The secretary was so good. He spoke so well.
Yeah, it's 7:47. Dr. Rao, you are Architect Vijay. What would you want to offer as takeaway from today's meetings? What do you think you have gained? How does it help you pave your way for your next meeting of Trichy?
Yeah, is Vijay Kumar sir there?
Architect Vijay, yes.
I'm here.
Maybe you, over to both of you. Yes.
No, actually, it's nice to hear so many people talk about it, and I think because we were focused on, we started the thing by looking at restoring a canal, and till now, my focus is how to use this recycled water to get the canal flowing for the year round. So whatever I'm just translating whatever I heard now, and I'm just looking at how it can support the aquatic life in that particular canal by providing the minimum water that is needed.
Right. That's a few steps from here. Dr. Rao, if with your consent and permission, out of deference to a person who has dedicated several decades to water, Dr. Prakasham Tata, can I ask him to speak for a minute to leave a message for Trichy citizens? I know there are many people, Sanjay Gupta from Hyderabad is here, many others are here, but I'll ask Dr. Tata to speak. Is that okay with you, Dr. Rao?
Please do, sir. Please do, sir.
Yeah, I have just only a message to my 2 good Rotarian friends here, Dr. Prasad and Kandaswamy here. I'm a Rotarian in District 6450, close to the headquarters of Evanston. I've been involved in several global grant projects. Currently, I'm doing a project in plastic waste collection, processing and recycling in Vizag, a coastal city in Andhra Pradesh. I come from there. I've been in this country for 60 years almost. Day before yesterday, I celebrated my birthday. Wish me a good birthday.
Absolutely. Happiest returns. He has turned
Happy birthday.
He has turned a very young 84.
If you want to contribute 86, go ahead and punch your visa or whatever it is, 86 rupees to Hariharan's cars.
Absolutely.
Do that. I do that to my Rotary Club. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Lovely message there. Thank you so much, Dr. Tata. Over to you, Dr. Rao. You can close it with your last notes. Thank you so much for making this event happen today. Dr. Rao.
So thank you very much, Dr. Hari, for initiating this wonderful initiative. And yes, a lot of takeaways for all of us. I think I'll just start off with making a few points that we've gathered from here, and with the CC to all those who have attended here. And then I think we'll take them all one by one.
I'm feeling really bad about the fact that there are so many distinguished people. Indranipal is just now sending a note saying that there are people, that there is a curriculum from Anna University that we can use. There's Ramani Iyer, Sanjay Gupta from Hyderabad, Montu Lakani. There's so many people who have come in today. Luke Dhanraj has been here right through the meeting. He's another wonderful water champion from Bangalore, who is also, by the way, into rainwater harvest and what other water solutions that he consults from. Lots of them here. Not to forget, people like Suresh Pai, Usha Kini, Ganesh Shanbag, who are all the true champions of the Bangalore WOW mission that started last year about the same time. Amazing to hear from Dr. Rao that January 7, exactly 4 years ago, he had started the Citizens for Oyakandan initiative. And 4 years later, on the very same date, he launches this. And we didn't know that, that there was this very, very happy coincidence. Thank you so much to all of you. I'm not able to take all your names.
1 minute for me.
Yes, please. Yes, Raj. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I see in the chat, there are so many different groups doing some wonderful work in Trichy and surrounding areas.
Yes, yes.
It is for us to all work together, not be in silos, but break these silos, work together with a common cause of conserving water, recycling water, and saving water for everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you for making that observation. I'm grateful to you. I've in fact requested the backend team to take a copy of all the chat box notes, put it together so that we can all together think about it and see what we can do. I promise you, to all of you, I promise you that I will send crisp notes after Dr. Rao has made them, and then see that we initiate more action. Like Architect Vijay said, we need to take this further. We need to see if we can have that canal, hosting, a whole lot of fishery, of the kind that aquatic, species that he's talking about. Dr. Tata has another lovely story to tell you another day. I will leave it there.
Just want to take 1 second here.
Yeah, you see that. Yeah.
I'm daring to go to India
Yeah.
on the 12th in 5 or 6 days.
Okay.
I'm there till March 29th. I would like to connect with some of the group members here. I have some connections at Andhra University in Visakhapatnam.
Okay.
There is a Department of Environmental Engineering and
Wonderful.
also a Center of Environment. So I think there are some very interesting people here for me for the first time seeing them and talking to them. I want to connect with you guys when I come to India. I'm there till March 29th. March 22nd is World Water Day. This is my passion. I spend the whole month teaching. So pray for me, because COVID-19 or whatever the variant is going on, but still I'm daring to go because of the passion.
All our best prayers for you.
Particularly the two Rotarians, that Prasad and Kandaswamy, and be in touch with me. Put in the chat box your email IDs, please.
Yeah, you can do that. Not to worry, Dr. Tata. We will find our ways of connecting you to all of these people.
Thank you.
Well, have a very safe flight, and a safe ride out here. And, yeah, great. I think we should close now. We have gone some 8 minutes beyond what Dr. Rao had laid. I think it's been a very. I don't know if you all agree with me. It's been a fantastic meeting. For a first meeting, I can tell you it's been a fantastic meeting. Dr. Rao?
Yeah, so thank you very much, sir, for this one. And I'm just on my way out to the hospital.
Wonderful, wonderful. We'll close up now. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you. 3 cheers to Trichy. Yeah? Great. Okay, thank you. Bye. Bye, all of you. Yeah.
Namaste. Happy New Year.
Namaste. Thank you, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sanjay Gupta.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita. Victor, thank you. Special thanks to you. Architect Vijay, of course. Roland, you didn't speak today. Thank you for being here. Mary Muller, thank you so much for being here. Nice of you to have stayed so long.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muller.